Hey everybody, how you doing? Hopefully you're having a great day. Hopefully you caught a pretty good game last night if you are a Celtics fan. If not, I'll be here to catch you up on everything. So, last night, well, actually let's backtrack to even before last night. All day yesterday, I'm sure you heard it. All the talking heads, the debate shows were saying the same thing. Game 3 looked like a team that quit. I can't even say that I guess I fault that narrative necessarily, because what we saw in Game 3 was something that I wouldn't have said that they quitted necessarily, but we just saw a blowout in a Game 3 when it was built up as Game 3 being the biggest game in the series because they just lost the first two at home, and then the showing in Game 3 made it seem like to some that the team had just given up on the series. Now, fast forward to after the game. Like I said, team quit. What was it? Max Kellerman or something said the Heat snatched the Celtics' soul. There was, I think it was like Kevin O'Connor who was talking about the team fake liking each other and all this kind of stuff. Now, what we do know from this Celtics team, this group especially, for whatever reason, elimination games, they do well. So when their back's against the wall, most of the time, they usually come out the very next night and reestablish some things. Now, from this group as well, we heard that the team kind of got together. I believe it was Smart and Jaylen Brown orchestrated it or led it or whatever. I believe they said like they talked about some of the outside noise, made sure the group was together and all that. So that was good to hear. That was the first thing. I guess the second thing was they tapped into the Red Sox of I don't want to get the year wrong. Might be 04. It's either 04 or 08. I can't remember right now. But the team that was down 3-0 to the Yankees, Kevin Millar, the whole "don't let us win" one, that became the talking point from Al Horford, Smart, Jaylen Brown. They were all talking about "don't let us win this one. Don't let us win one." Which I guess when you're down 3-0, probably the best mindset to have, and especially in the city where the Red Sox did it, why not copy that? So all of at least the outward message from the Celtics going into last night's game was that this team was together, despite what all these, I guess, analysts and NBA insiders are saying. Which we know some of these guys are out here just trying to create narratives, get clicks and all that. I get it. That's the world we're in terms of sports journalism. But look, the team let it know that that's not what was going on. And of course, the team's going to say that as well. But now looking at last night's game, the Celtics won it 116-99. It was obviously their best showing of the series. I mean, it's not a coincidence that it was their first win of the series in the game where they showed out the best. We saw, another game where Tatum had a nice showing. He's really taken on the role of being that catalyst when things aren't going well. He's usually the guy who tries to get the big bucket to kind of settle things down. Or even last night, we saw him, what do you have, like 7 assists. So saw a bit of playmaking in Tatum, and I think that's going to be something that's going to be key going forward in this series, because now, yes, 3-0 was a major uphill to climb. 3-1 is still an uphill to climb. Say probably not as steep, but now Game 5 becomes all or nothing. Each game's going to be that at this point. So the same mentality they had going into last night, they got to duplicate that for Game 5. Luckily, Game 5 will be back in Boston. But it was a good showing last night, and having to see a lot of the same talking heads and debate shows this morning talk about how, well, Stephen A. was one of those who said he was shocked the Celtics won last night. You know, a lot of people who thought the series was over. Some of them have completely flip-flopped after one game and are now like seriously entertaining the thought of the Celtics being able to pull off what hasn't been done in the NBA. It's been done in other sports, but NBA, not so much. Actually, I don't think it has happened. Coming back from 3-0 and actually winning a series. Look, I'm not looking that far ahead, because with this episode, I'm just going to focus on Game 4 last night and Game 5, which is Thursday night. But looking at Game 4, what was the difference? So, I guess from the Celtics side, we'll take it from the Celtics side first, and then we'll go to the Heat side. So the Celtics side, what we saw last night was a more productive Grant Williams. I did say, I believe that was the watch-along for Game 2, because we know Game 1, Missoula tried Pritchard as the 8th guy in the rotation. Then Game 2, he went to Grant. I thought Grant, yes, I know all the attention was put on his face-to-face with Jimmy Butler, but I thought Grant brought energy and, I guess, an edge, you would say, that I felt the team needed. And I said Game 2, he deserved minutes in Game 3. Now, Game 3 is what it is at this point. It was dissected enough. But I felt like Grant still deserved minutes. Now, last night, Grant gave you a, I guess, Bucks series-esque performance that I believe, like, okay, so if he gives another performance like that in Game 5, then, you know, it might be onto something, but this is the kind of performance where you had to give serious thought about a extension in terms of Boston with Grant Williams, because he had 14 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, a block. He played good defense. The one block he had was on that play in the fourth where Jimmy Butler tried his fadeaway. Grant was right there to block it. And once again, he brought great energy off the bench. Now, it's not to say that that's $20 million a year worth, which once again, I've mentioned several times, that's the report. That was early in the season that Grant Williams was looking for. But last night's game in 29 minutes, so he gave you about 30 minutes off the bench. I don't know. I mean, I will still say if the Celtics could get Grant at probably like 13, 14, 15 a year, I could probably stomach that more than necessarily 20 a year. Because I feel like in the going rate of the NBA, guys like Grant Williams, probably not too long ago, a Grant Williams would probably get you about 10 a year on the open market. This day and age, let's be honest, it's going to be more than that. I mean, look, maybe some team offers him some crazy number and the Celtics just can't afford that, and I would be okay with that. I would understand that from a business aspect. But I think if it's a reasonable number, I'm not against our Grant Williams extension based off of last night's performance. But that would also mean he'd have to give you that consistently, because throughout the season, a lot of ups and downs with Grant Williams. But if you're going to save your best basketball for any time of the year, why not conference finals? Why not when your team's back is against the wall? So we'll have to see if Game 5 he duplicates anything close to what he did last night. Like I said, 14 points with the 4 of 6 shooting from 3. The 3-point shot for Grant has been all over the place all year. If he could lock it in for a few more games, even better. I think another big difference, Al Horford. Horford had, 12 points. The 7 rebounds, 4 assists. So he gave you all aspects of the game. But the key, 3 for 6 from 3. That's what I've been saying over the course of the other games. The Horford 3-point shot is a necessity on this team. Because we know Horford probably plays, 75% on the perimeter, 25% in the post. But if guys like Brown, Tatum, or Smart get into the lane, there's a very good chance that Horford's wide open somewhere on the perimeter. And there has to be that confidence that you kick it out to him, he's going to take that shot and more often than not, make it. Because if he can do that, that stretches the Heat defense out even more. And it just makes the Celtics offense look much better. Because that's what they want to do. Drive and kick. Drive and kick. That's what they want to do. Then the occasional, Tatum Brown drive to the rim. But for the most part, they're looking to drive and kick. So that was definitely encouraging to see last night as well. I think everybody else kind of the same. Derek White gave you 16. I said all regular season, Derek White, when he's going good, he's giving you 15 to 17 points in a game. The occasional 20. But if he's less than that, it was usually a tough night for Derek White. Derek White, I thought, was really good last night. Brown, once again, his perimeter game still hasn't been found yet. He was 1 for 5 from 3. He scored 17, which is about his average for this series. I would still like to see that number bump up into the 20s, but look, they won the game. They found other ways to supplement Brown's production or non-production offensively. I'll say decreased production. It's not non-production. That was definitely a wrong term. But decreased production offensively, they found other ways to supplement that. Tatum had a really good night. He scored 33 with 11 boards. I think the biggest keys, the 7 assists, like I said earlier. So, encouraging signs, yes. And reasons to be optimistic for Game 5. But now the other side, because in order for the Celtics to win, there was some differences in the Heat game last night. So all series where they've been getting really good production, outside of Jimmy Butler, from like Strus, Robinson, Vincent, who am I missing? Bam. Those 4 were all performing really well each of the games. Last night did not happen. So Duncan Robinson went back to non-existence. He scored 2 points. Kyle Lowry had 5, but I said back in Game 1 I wasn't going to overreact to Kyle Lowry's performance because the longer the series is going to go, the less and less you're going to get from Kyle Lowry. So 5 points, that's kind of the norm. Now, Gabe Vincent, give him all the credit. He scored 17. That's kind of what he's been doing this series as well. Strus only gave you 9. Bam only gave you 10. And then probably the biggest key, remember that hot shooting from 3 that the Heat had all series? Last night they were 8 for 32, 25%. What a surprise. They didn't win that game. So I think the Heat shooting came back to the norm. I think 25% is still pretty low for, I guess, a normal Heat game, but we knew they weren't going to live 40 to mid 40s all series. If they did that and they won it, I would have just chalked it up to the Heat are just playing out of their minds right now. So for the Heat, they're going to have to try to bounce back and get that three-point shooting that was so pivotal for them in the first three games. They'd have to get that back for a Game 5 if they want to close it out in Boston. Actually, I forgot to say for Boston, their three-point shot was also a big narrative for this series as well, being so low and bad from out there. Last night they were 18 for 45, 40%. That's more like the regular season Celtics team that was so good. They shoot a lot of them, make a lot of them, and it leads to wins. So based off of last night, there's still a chance, yes. Because look, there's a Game 5. If there's a Game 5, that's another opportunity for the Celtics to go out there, play like they did in Game 4. If they can get another win in Game 5, then yeah. At that point, it would have gone from a 3-0 deficit to now just a 3-2 deficit, which I think logically is more manageable. I feel like confidence will just grow even more because that's what this series has become. The first three games, the Heat had all the confidence in the world. They won those games last night. The Celtics look like the more confident team. They won. So now Game 5 is going to be which team comes out, and do the Heat look more like games 1 through 3, or do the Celtics look more like Game 4? That will probably determine who wins Game 5. If it's the Celtics' favor, I'll be back here talking about a Game 6 in another episode. If not, then I'll be talking about Heat Nuggets finals. But the ultimate question is, what to expect in Game 5? To be honest with you, I believe with the matter that the Celtics won Game 4 down in Miami, I'm expecting a really confident bunch to come out Game 5. I think Grant Williams has recaptured the, I guess I've probably used this word too much in this episode, but the confidence in his game, his ability, his role on this team. I'm expecting more of the same from him. I think my bold prediction for Game 5 would be, I think we get a sneaky Jaylen Brown game. I could see him dropping 25 in Game 5. And I do actually think the Celtics win a Game 5, and I will be back here previewing a Game 6, which a couple of days ago I was not expecting, was not prepared for. I'm pretty sure I said going into Game 4, might have said this on Sports Empire Network, not sure, but going into Game 4, I was at about 3%. That's what I saw in Game 4. I'm hovering around 10%. They get a Game 5, I don't even know. We'll have to wait for that episode to see what percentage I'm at. But I do think that the opportunity is there. You know, people closing the door on this playoff run. I think the door has been cracked open just a little bit. And now it's up to this group to just get it done. That's all it is. It's all on them. There's no margin of error anymore. It's either win or get eliminated. And this is a team that's talked about wanting to get back to the finals. Well, look, you've extended it out for another game. Now go into that game, do the same thing that they did last night. And I think they'll be able to extend it out another game. We know Butler's going to be up for it. We'll see what the others on the Heat do. But I'm definitely excited after last night. It was a great win. And I really can't wait to see what happens in Game 5. But, you guys let me know what you think down in the comment section. what are your thoughts coming out of Game 4, and what do you think will happen in Game 5? Like I said, we can talk about it down there in the comments section. But really appreciate you for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. If you did, you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, and share. Notification bell as well, so you know when I do another play-by-play, another episode drop, something like that. Just stay in the know. But thanks again. Be safe out there. God bless. I'll catch you next episode. All right. Like I said, hopefully there's a Game 6 in the cards, but we'll see. So I'll see you later.